What's up YouTube, I'm Guy, and today on the channel we're going to be talking about a couple of Pulsar watches, and we're going to be doing a giveaway. That's right, I'm giving both of these watches to one viewer. We'll talk about how you can be eligible to win these watches in a moment. First things first, what are the watches we're talking about? We're talking about two Pulsar watches, reference numbers PHX227, that's the dive watch, and PH9049, that's the dress watch. Two really cool, somewhat entry-level watches that I've had on my table here for a couple of months, as a matter of fact, and I've been waiting for the right opportunity to do a giveaway. Well, I feel like now's the time, and we're going to let one of the viewers win both of these watches. First things first, I want to cover a couple of things. Number one, people are going to complain down in the comments without a doubt that these are Quartz watches and Quartz watches are garbage. Well, first thing I want to say about that is I can't disagree with you more. I like Quartz watches. I'm not a Quartz fanboy, I'm not pushing Quartz watches, but I like them. Maybe not quite as much as I like mechanical or automatic watches, but Quartz is reliable, it's robust, it's durable, and it's accurate. These are, of course, entry-level watches, and I think they're good watches. I've had them for a couple of months now. I've evaluated them, I've tested them. I think they're really good watches. Sure, they're affordable. Sure, they're entry level. But I'm hoping that there are a bunch of people out there that would love to have these watches be a part of their collection, because they are cool. Something else that people are probably going to complain about down in the comment is that Pulsar is a garbage brand and they're not interested in winning these watches. Well, that's fine if you don't want them, but I hope that there are some people out there that like them. If your position is that Pulsar is really not a good brand or not historically significant, you're coming from a position of ignorance though, and you probably don't know anything about it. I'll share a little bit of information about the brand that I found particularly interesting. First things first, Pulsar has been around since 1970 at least, and they were a brand underneath the Hamilton Watch Company. As you probably know, I'm a big fan of Hamilton watches, and I found that connection to be somewhat interesting. I like that. Now, of course, they were bought or acquired by Seiko Corporation in about 1979, but prior to that, they had a world first milestone. They produced the world first electronic digital watch. It was an LED driven display electronic watch. That watch is called the Pulsar P22900 LED, and it was actually featured in a James Bond movie, the 1973 Bond movie Live and Let Die. Now, that's another interesting and horologically significant first for a brand that someone might think is worthless or junk. Their current watches are, of course, entry-level, and if I'm not mistaken, all or the very vast majority of them are Quartz, but they're great watches. The ones that I have here that I'm giving away were actually pretty impressive, considering the price point of around $50 to $60 each. Yeah, I really like them, and I hope somebody out there will enjoy them as well. If you want to know how to become eligible to win these watches, it's going to be super simple. Down in the notes section below this video or the description of this video, I'll have a link to the Facebook group Horology 101. Every single member of that Facebook group will be eligible to win these two watches. You'll get both. You'll get the diver and the dress watch. So if you want to win these watches, go ahead, hop over to Facebook and join that Facebook group. On June 1st or thereabouts, I'll pick one winner, I'll notify you that you've won, and I'll ship them out to you. I'm going to jump over to the tabletop view. I'm going to show you these two watches. I'm going to give you a quick overview, a little bit of a presentation, not a full in-depth review, just so you know what you could possibly be winning. And then when you're done, come back over here with me to have my final thoughts, and we'll close out this video. I want to remind you guys how these giveaways are being made possible. Number one, everyone that supports me over on Patreon, that really helps a lot. I want to thank you and let you know that these giveaways are being made possible by you. Also, people that have sent me direct donations via my PayPal link. Thank you very much. You're helping make these giveaways possible also. Finally, everyone that clicks on my Amazon affiliate link, which is found in the description of every video that I've ever produced, you guys are helping make these giveaways possible as well. Every time you click on that link and go on Amazon to buy something that I've reviewed, or buy anything else for that matter, I get a small commission, and these giveaways are being made possible most notably because of that. So thank you guys very much. Also, I wanted to comment on the fact that this is being held and restricted to just members of the Horology 101 Facebook group. I've had people comment that they don't want to make the eligibility to get into my giveaways hinging on the fact that you have to use Facebook. This is just a one-time thing. This is something that I'm doing to help support that group because the guys over there that run that group have supported me in the past, and I'm doing this as a way to say thank you to them. In the future, I will use different requirements to become eligible, so if you're not a Facebook user, don't worry, you'll most certainly be eligible for future giveaways. Keep that in mind. Alright guys, we got the Pulsar PHX227 and the PH9049. On the left, the dive watch. On the right, we have the dress watch. This is, of course, why I'm calling this the Pulsar Dive and Dress Giveaway. I'm going to give you guys the basic specifications on the dive watch first, and then we'll hop over and we will look at the dress watch. Let's get that right underway. The PHX227 is a really nice entry-level dive watch. Of course, it is quartz, and it is inexpensive. Again, retail price, roughly $110, but I find them online for $50 to $65. I think I might have mentioned that in the intro. The dimensions on this watch: we have a 40.5 millimeter case diameter with 22 millimeter lugs. We have a really nice thickness of 11 millimeters and a width of wingspan, or from lug to lug, from one end of the case to the other, of roughly 47 millimeters. So overall, it's a really good size. As a matter of fact, I recommended this watch in a top 5 affordable Rolex alternatives, or Rolex Submariner homage alternatives. I recommended this watch, and I also recommended a Casio MDV 106. I've also reviewed the MDV 106 in the past. Now, if you like that Casio watch, I think you might like this watch too, in particular if you thought that Casio was too big, because the case diameter on that Casio comes in at just a hair over 44 millimeters. So if you are larger wristed, I think you might want to give this watch a look, in case you don't win it. You might win it, you won't have to worry about it. But yeah, it's a great watch. It's very similar in presentation to that Casio, but just shrunk down a little bit. Now, this watch does have a stainless steel case. It does have a 60-click unidirectional bezel. We have a hardened mineral crystal and, of course, a Japanese quartz movement. This watch is 100-meter water resistance. We have a black dial with luminous applied markers and a luminous handset. We have a date complication over at the 3 o'clock position, of course. And this watch comes on a black rubber strap. I'll give you a quick look at that black rubber strap. It's very nice. It's comfortable. It starts out at 20 millimeters, but sort of flares out as wide as the lugs and then tapers down slightly. And then it just comes down to a straight shot to that standard pin buckle. You have a simple rubber keeper. The tongue side is also basically the same. On the underside of the strap, you have this texturing here, which helps keep the keeper from flopping around so much, and it also lets your skin breathe on a hot day. Overall, I really like this strap. I would compare it favorably to something like one of the more affordable Casio G-Shocks. It has that same sort of comfort level and feel in my mind. Now, the dial on this watch is very nice. Of course, I mentioned this watch in my Rolex Submariner homage alternatives I think I said under $200, and this was one of the most affordable. Certainly, it does have a Rolex Submariner homage look to it, particularly when we look at those applied markers, all of the circle pips, along with the baton markers at the 6 and the 9. Of course, up at the 12 side, we don't have the Rolex-style triangle, but nevertheless, you do get a little bit of that Rolex Submariner vibe from this watch. The bezel is decent. It is only a 60 click, and it's not super smooth, but it's not bad. As you can see, the aluminum insert is, about what you would expect. Nothing outstanding, but it's certainly not terrible. Overall, I can't complain too much about this bezel at this price point. The dial on this watch is very attractive. Of course, we have those nice applied luminous filled markers, and the handset's nice too. We have some basic printing, Pulsar branding, and 100-meter water resist on the bottom, and then a simple seconds track on the outer edge of the bezel. The date complication or date window over at the 3 o'clock position is a white dial with black text, and there's a small white outline. Otherwise, it's very simple, and like I said, a little bit like a Submariner homage. On the back side of the case, we have a pretty simple screw-down case back with a little bit of Pulsar branding, water resist 10 bar stainless steel, movement Japan. Overall, it's a little bit higher quality than I would expect. It's not just a press-on friction fit case back. It is a screw down case back, so it's going to most certainly help with that water resist rating. The crown is, of course, not screw down, and it's very simple, but it's decent. It's easy to manipulate, and I do like it. It is surrounded from the protrusions of the crown guards coming off the case, and overall it works just fine. Well, that's a quick look at the Pulsar PHX227. I'm going to get this out of the way, and we're going to bring in the PH9049 to give you guys a quick look at that one. I really like these rectangular watches, be it the ultra high-end watches like the JLC Reverso, the Cartier Tank, everything even down to these more affordable Pulsar and Seiko brand rectangular watches. I think they're great. I love this look. So this Pulsar PH904, basic information about it, $115 retail, but I find it online for right around $50 as well. The case dimensions from since this is rectangular, I'm not going to give you like a diameter, but from one side to the other here, we have 29 millimeters, and from the top edge of the case to the bottom edge of the case, not including the lugs, I get a measurement of 36. So we get 29 by 36. If I include the lugs, I get 42 millimeters, but as you can see by looking at the sides, it doesn't really add a whole lot to the overall lug-to-lug width. It's an excellent size. We do have a thickness of roughly only 9.5 millimeters at the thickest part of the curve of the case, and you can see that case kind of arches. And of course we have a lug width where the strap attaches it's sort of an off size, I think. It's not quite 22 millimeters, not quite 21 millimeters. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe the strap actually has an indication on it here. Sometimes they do. This one doesn't, of course not. But nevertheless, on my calipers, it doesn't measure in exactly at 22 millimeters. It's kind of this in between 21 and 22. That said, I would imagine you could squeeze a 22 millimeter strap in there and it would fit. Although I don't dislike the strap that this comes on. I'll touch on that here in a second. Now this is a stainless steel case and it does have some two-tone gold accents. I don't know how well it's going to pick up on camera, but sort of around the edge, on the crown. Of course the handsets, you have some gold highlights. Overall, I think that it's not overdone, and I'm not a huge fan of gold on watches generally, but I do like two-tone, and I think that, again, this one is done fairly well. It is most certainly just gold-plated, but, keep that in mind. We do have this curved hardened mineral crystal, and again, I'll show you the kind of the profile of the watch. This curved case and curved crystal looks excellent. I really like it. I think it's very well done, particularly at this price point. It looks fantastic. This is running, of course, a Japanese quartz movement. It's only 30 meter water resist, but for a dress watch, you wouldn't expect a whole lot more than that. The dial is fantastic. It's a white dial with Roman numerals, and it does, again, have a nice gold handset. There's a date complication down at the 6 o'clock position. We get and I mentioned it, a decent leather strap. It's an alligator grain leather strap, and I'll give you a closer look at that. Under my bright lights, it looks a little glossy, but in person it's not. And that's a common complaint when you're talking about affordable leather alligator grain straps, even from like Seiko. They're usually really, really glossy and almost have this like plasticky feel. This one, again, looks a little glossy under my super bright lights, but to the naked eye in person, it doesn't present very glossy, and overall, I actually kind of like the strap. It's not outstanding super, super high quality, but it's certainly wearable, and frankly, I would just keep it on this strap. That would be my recommendation. The buckle is just a very simple pin-style buckle. It's unsigned, nothing, special about it, but functional and it works, so that's about what we would expect. Aside from the nice curved shape of this case, probably the main event of this watch is that dial, and the dial looks fantastic. We have a very simple, sort of Cartier tank-like layout with the Roman numerals and a simple seconds track on the outer edge of the dial. We do have a gold handset, which in this presentation looks nice and it matches up with the gold crown. The date window down at the 6 o'clock position works, and at the center of the dial, you have the Pulsar branding, and there's sort of a guilloche type texturing on the inner area of the dial. It actually looks really good. The outer minute track is kind of a flat track. There's no texturing on that, and I like the way that the inner section of the dial is inset. The Pulsar branding there on the dial, if I can catch it without getting too much glare, is sort of raised and then printed on this raised area. Again, the whole presentation of this watch is really outstanding, particularly at the price point. If you're a fan of these rectangular style dress watches, I think you're really going to enjoy this one. So that's the Pulsar Diver and Pulsar dress watches. I hope you guys liked them. Stick around for a couple of minutes. We'll jump back over to the studio view and I'll sign out with my closing thoughts. Alright guys, well, those are the Pulsar watches we have on giveaway today. I hope you enjoyed checking them out. I hope you're excited to try to win these. Again, pop over to the Facebook group Horology 101 and join that. And don't forget to answer the questions. When you sign up to join, you will not be approved unless you answer those questions. Also, thanks to everyone that has supported the channel in the past. Again, you guys are making this giveaway possible and helping make all future giveaways possible as well. So keep supporting the channel. I could always use more support over on Patreon. Donations are always welcomed. And most importantly, everyone that purchases on Amazon by clicking on my affiliate link. If you like things that I've reviewed in the past and you want to purchase one of those or anything else, if you click on that link, I get a small commission and that helps me out. Yeah, I think these are a couple of great Pulsar watches. I hope somebody is going to enjoy them, and I'm looking forward to selecting a winner on June 1st. I will be back next week with another review, so stay tuned for that. And until then, thanks everybody. I appreciate everything, and yeah, bye now.